all you need to know. The Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business. Good morning. You're listening to the Daily Morning Update from Bloomberg Quint, and I'm Alex Matthew. Today is the 8th of December. Markets in India will take cues from two major stories, one from India and one from the Middle East. In India, advance estimates released by the Central Statistics Office of the government last evening suggested that the economy is set to grow at its slowest pace since 2008-2009. The GDP is expected to grow by 5% in the current financial year, compared with 6.8% last year. This is in line with the expectations of economists and is also similar to the growth rate projected by the Reserve Bank of India. Of course, the RBI sharply reduced its projection for growth in its last two policy meetings. But more importantly, nominal GDP is seen growing only 7.5% compared with 11.2% in the previous financial year. This is much lower than the 12% growth that was penciled in when the government was making its fiscal calculations in the budget in July. As a result, with nominal GDP now likely to settle at around 204.4 lakh crore, as per the advance estimates, fiscal deficit is almost certain to rise to 3.44% of the GDP if the absolute level remains unchanged. Now on to the international news that's front and center this morning. According to several reports, Iranian state TV has said that Iran has launched tens of missiles at two Iraqi bases housing US and coalition troops following the killing of the country's top general. The attacks were described as Tehran's revenge operation over the killing of General Qasem Soleimani, whose funeral in his hometown on Tuesday prompted angry calls to avenge his death. A US government statement said it was clear that the missiles were launched from Iran and targeted at least two Iraqi military bases housing US military and coalition personnel. Earlier, Iran had said that it is evaluating 13 possible ways to inflict a historic nightmare on the US. The attack ratcheted up fears of a conflict and has already had a bearing on all international markets. Crude futures in the US have spiked nearly 4.5%, and Asian markets, that is the equity markets that have opened so far, are all trading sharply lower. Also, US indices futures suggest cuts of over 1.2% for all three averages. Moving to more news from back home. At least 49 listed companies, including insolvency hit Reliance Communications, JP Infratech, Religare Enterprises, Hindustan Construction Company and Suzlon Energy, reported debt defaults in keeping with the Securities and Exchange Board of India's tighter disclosure norms. Data of 49 disclosures to the stock exchange compiled by Bloomberg Quint showed that these firms had defaulted on outstanding debt worth 69,140 crore rupees as of December 31st of 2019. The firms had a total indebtedness of 3.66 lakh crore. Now, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India has amended the norms governing liquidation of a company under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 and barred promoters from participating in the process at any level. The revised norms also say that banks cannot sell their security interest to such persons in bilateral deals either. Now, the government has asked public sector undertakings to dissuade their employees from participating in the Bharat Bandh that was called for today and advised them to prepare a contingency plan to ensure smooth functioning of the enterprises. 10 central trade unions have said that around 25 crore people will participate in the nationwide strike to protest against the government's so-called anti-people policies. In other news, the government will form a panel that will suggest measures to check evasion of goods and services tax and fraudulent refund claims. The panel, comprising officers, will come up with a standard operating procedure within a week that will be implemented by the end of January, according to an official. And a senior official at Tihar jail has said that the 4 convicts in the Nirbhaya gang rape case will be hanged at 7 a.m. on the 22nd of January. With that, it's over to Darshan Mehta for the trade setup for the day in India. Good morning, Darshan. not looking great in terms of international cues. How are we looking at the start of trade?
Hi, Alex. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yes, Alex, you're absolutely right. It's not looking good in terms of the international cues. US was down in trade. Europe was weak. And the real brunt has come in as far as Asia is concerned. Japan is down 2.5%. Kospi is down over 1.5%. And the SGX Nifty is down almost 180 points at this point of time. So expect a big gap down opening and intense selling when we open at 9:15. But there are some stocks that we need to watch out in trade today. Yes Bank, the board meet will be done on Jan 10 to consider the fundraising plan. Tata Steel gets the mining license for 50 years from the government of Orissa for a block there. Navin Fluorine has commenced production of the company's capacity addition in Madhya Pradesh. NCL Industries Q3 cement production was down 23% and dispatches was down 22%. NBCC secured business worth 1090 crores for the month of December. Now, a lot of companies came out with the default numbers that they had done up to December 31st. So, Suzlon had a default worth almost 7256 crores. JP Infra defaulted on loans worth 6721 crores. Reliance Communication, it was 28,825 crores. HCC default worth 286 crores. Gayatri Projects was 83 crores. Religare Enterprises was 200 crores. Reliance Power was 680 crores. And Reliance Naval was 9,490 crores. So these are all the default. Probably all these companies will be in focus. Finally, some brokerages. Bank of America Merrill Lynch has upgraded IndusInd to a buy from a neutral and raised the target price to 2,000 from the earlier 1,500. HSBC is upgraded sale to a hold from a reduce and raised the target price to 50 from 30. HSBC is upgraded sale to a hold from a reduce and raised the target price to 50 from 30. And they have also raised JSPL's target to 240 from the earlier 180, maintaining a buy. But there's much more you need to know before trade actually starts. For that, log on to our website, BloombergQuint.com, and click on the All You Need to Know tab, and you'll be prepared for morning trade.
Thanks, Darshan. Well, that's all we have for you on this podcast, but do remember you'll find all the updates over the course of the day in the markets as well as in international news and politics and, of course, in the world of business. All of that on Bloomberg Quint. Thanks so much for listening. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you could listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma. Or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.